What is up, guys? I'm about to review The Flash, Season 4, Episode 4, titled The Elongated Journey into Night. Actually, I think it's called just Elongated Journey into Night, not The Elongated Journey into Tonight, but saying The Elongated just feels better than just saying elongated. But anyway, let's get into the review. So this episode was a lot of fun. We got to see the Elongated Man for the first time, and his powers, he's a great character, first of all, and his powers are just so fun to watch. Like I just said, Ralph Dibny was a great character. We've seen a lot of new characters this season and in all the other Arrowverse shows this season. And I gotta say, Ralph Dibny, excluding the main villains because we haven't seen a lot of them, but Ralph Dibny is probably my favorite out of all the new characters we've seen in all the Arrowverse shows this season. I really like the fact, first of all, Hartley Sawyer, the guy who plays him, is a pretty great actor. I mean, I want to say great because I haven't seen him a lot, but he's a good actor in this episode. I also really like the fact that just his character is morally ambiguous. He's not the type of person that would sacrifice his life to save others like a superhero would. I'm guessing he's going to build to become that type of character, but right now I just think he's morally ambiguous, and most of the time morally ambiguous characters are very interesting characters. I thought the CGI for the stretchy powers didn't look that great in the trailer, and while it didn't look great in the episode too, it never got to a point where it was distracting or just, it never took me out of the show. It still didn't look terrible. For a TV budget, it didn't look that bad. And basically just it not being distracting, not taking you out of the show, it's really all you can ask from a CW show. If they can pull off powers and make it not terrible, then like props to them because they have a tiny budget. But the stretchy powers, and by extension the CGI, was used in a comedic effect, and that comedic effect worked really well. It was really funny. I laughed a lot. As was promised, Barry and Ralph don't get along at first, and the rivalry is definitely 100% believable considering the story Barry told Iris. But the thing is, the fact that he told it to Iris didn't make a lot of sense. The fact that Iris didn't know about Ralph and the whole story didn't make a lot of sense either. Surely Joe or Barry would have told her, right? But that's really just a small nitpick. Something that actually did kind of bother me about this episode is that Ralph got his powers on the bus, and I honestly have no problem with them changing the comic book origin story of just eating a special fruit. That's all I know about it. It's stupid. But the thing is, in Season 1, the fake Harrison Wells, or Eobard Thawne, was listing names of people who died in the particle accelerator explosion, and one of those names was Ralph Dibny. That creates a huge plot hole for the show, because if he died in the particle accelerator in Season 1, before Season 1, how is he alive? And why is he getting, and also, like, why is he not getting powers from that thing? I was totally expecting them to do something like he was thought to be dead, but it turns out he didn't die and got superpowers from the particle accelerator, but instead he just got his powers from the bus, and that shows a huge lack of continuity, and that really grinds my gears. You know that? You know what I'm saying? Another name Harrison Wells mentioned was Al Rothstein, and then he showed up again as Atom Smasher in Season 2, and I know that Atom Smasher was from Earth 2, but if you remember, Atom Smasher killed his Earth 1 counterpart, which means either the writers totally forgot about what Harrison Wells said, or they just think people forgot about it, and, well, I didn't forget about it. I did not forget that Harrison Wells said Al Rothstein and Ralph Dibny died in the particle accelerator explosion, so both those characters should either be dead or should have powers during The Flash Season 1. And that, it really annoys me, like, to a point that this episode probably would have gotten a much higher score. It's going to get a really high score, but it would have probably gotten like a 9.8 or 9, because this was a really great episode, but this continuity error really, really annoys me. But anyway, the whole Elongated Man character and story was great. I just wish they would have showed more faith in their continuity. I just wish they would have paid more attention. That's faith. I wish they would have paid more attention to their continuity. But the second story of the episode was Gypsy and her father, or Gypsy's father, coming into town and hunting Cisco. And while it definitely served for some fun and funny moments, it wasn't the greatest story. It wasn't bad. But Breacher, he was supposed to be a scary villain. Like, Caitlin literally said he's the scariest person she's ever seen. But just, if you think about it, he's not even a little bit scary. Sure, he's supposed to be really skilled, but so is Gypsy, and Cisco won against her. He just looks really old. Cisco could probably take him in a normal fight, and even then in a metahuman fight, they have the same exact powers. So I don't know why Cisco was so afraid of him. Probably just because he's his girlfriend's father, but that just means Breacher's not the scariest villain. He's just some joke of a villain that Cisco is afraid of because he's his girlfriend's father. But despite that, Breacher was definitely a good villain. I wouldn't say he's great. He's not bad. He's good. He's probably the best villain of the week so far this season, but that's not saying much since Kilgore was the worst and Hazard was just fine. Breacher was better than those two, but it just, I don't get all the hype around his character. You know what I mean? He was so hyped up because he is played by Danny Trejo. I was told I called him Danny Trejo in the last time I mentioned him. Sorry about that. His name is Trejo. Danny Trejo is a really big actor, but I don't know. He didn't seem like a better actor than anybody else on the show, and he didn't seem that menacing. So yeah, I didn't get all the hype around his character, and I still don't get the hype around him and his actor after seeing this episode. I know I said before that this episode really put a big continuity error to basically the universe, but it did show a lot of strong continuity when Barry heard about DeVoe. That was the third time Barry has heard the name DeVoe, and I really like the fact that he actually remembered both times. It would have been really, really like annoying and frustrating if he didn't remember those things. So I'm really glad he did, and this will probably lead him to finding out what a cerebral inhibitor is. I think that's what Savitar said, and then using that in a future episode when he meets DeVoe for the first time. I'm just really glad that it just shows continuity, and obviously you could tell from this review that continuity means a lot to me. If a TV show doesn't have continuity, then I really don't enjoy watching it. Like, you look at cartoons for kids, some of them have continuity, and those are really good, like Avatar, or I can't think of, or like Young Justice or Justice League. But then you look at other TV shows like I don't know, SpongeBob or something. It's funny, but it doesn't have continuity, and you can't really watch it. So continuity is a big thing. Almost all live action shows have continuity, but when you like have such a glaring thing in continuity, like the thing before, it's really bad. But when you have such a strong continuity, it's good. Another thing that scene gave us is a reference to Plastic Man, and that was really cool. You probably noticed that I said the word fun and funny, or the words fun and funny, a lot throughout this episode, or this review, and that's because this episode was a lot of fun, and it was really funny too. I was watching this at 6 a.m., and normally right after I wake up, I have zero sense of humor. Even Jack's films can't make me laugh at 6 a.m., but this episode made me laugh more than a couple times, despite it. In conclusion, this episode was fun and funny. The Elongated Man is a great addition to the show, and Breacher was a good villain, but the CGI was a tiny bit off, and this episode gave us some glaring continuity errors. I give this episode a 9.5 out of 10. Like I said, if the continuity errors weren't there, it would have gotten like a 9.8 or 9.9, but 9.5 is still a great grade, and despite the continuity mess up, I really enjoyed this episode, and I would have just felt really bad giving it a lower grade than 9.5. But what do you think about the episode? Let me know in the comments down below, and vote in the top right corner of the video. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.